There is a lot of negativity out there about EEOC. Even some experts will tell you that the deck is stacked against employees. First, I want to take a minute to remind you that what really matters isn't whose side EEOC is on in the beginning, it's whose side they end up on. We want that to be you. So now let's get into it. How is the deck stacked? First, the way the law itself is set up favors employers. Some employers are excluded from some parts of the ADA that include employment protections. Even employers who have to comply with the law always start out as the accused in the sense that the law considers them innocent and we have to prove they're guilty. Besides the law, the EEOC process itself isn't equal either. There are a bunch of timelines that seem designed to give EEOC and employers as much leeway as possible in managing claims, but employees don't get any. When we miss a timeline, our claim dies. Employers, on the other hand, can delay without very many consequences at all. NASA missed and ignored a lot of deadlines. They even filed multiple requests for appeal and reconsideration. The process doesn't technically allow that, but EEOC only stopped them when my attorney complained.
WTF, guys? NASA has submitted 3 appeal briefs so far. Are you just going to keep letting them do that? No way, NASA. You lose. No appeal for you.
The written guidance and documents that are available to help us navigate the process use legal terminology and concepts that also put us at a disadvantage. Your chances of winning are much better with an attorney if you can find one that you can afford. And if you can't, you'll have to match wits with your employer, who probably has an attorney. It is possible to represent yourself pro se and win. I've met employees who did it. Some of you are doing it. I think that's pretty amazing. I'm sure it's not easy. In the federal sector, even the way money changes hands between EEOC and agencies can give employers an advantage. For us, EEOC only handles our hearings and appeals. The front end of the process, including counseling and investigations, are paid for by the agency that's being investigated. NASA paid my EEOC investigator and counselor. Now, I have to say, in my case, they seem mostly impartial. Lately, I hear that NASA is trying to hire its own investigators in-house. And I can't see how letting an agency investigate itself is going to help. What do you guys think? Of course, for us feds, the good news is that even if our employer's report of investigation finds no discrimination, we can still request a hearing from an EEOC judge who actually works for EEOC. Your agency's report of investigation will precede you, so the judge may come in with some biases about your claim. And most employers will file a motion for summary judgment based on that report. Everything rests on your response to that motion. It's the first place that you'll get to put your spin on the evidence. So yeah, all things considered, I'd have to say that the deck is stacked against employees. But even against the odds, we can win. Even though NASA paid them, my EEOC counselor and investigator saw exactly what I was complaining about. And to their credit, they didn't just turn a blind eye. They listened and documented my concerns. I can tell you a couple of things that I think helped them listen. The first thing that I think helped me was my attitude. I reminded myself that the counselor and investigator were only there to do a job, and I thought the best thing I could do was make that as simple and easy for them as possible. I didn't yell at them about how bad NASA was, and I tried to demonstrate good faith and a willingness to work it out with NASA. Even when NASA requested a 30-day extension to the counseling period, I agreed to let them have it without making a fuss, because I knew the EEOC counselor was going to be caught in the crossfire if I didn't. Which brings me to the other thing that I think made a big difference with the counselor and investigator, NASA's attitude. From the very beginning, my boss stubbornly refused to participate in the interactive dialogue about reasonable accommodation, and NASA kept that momentum going through the whole process. They dragged their feet, contradicted themselves, lost evidence they should have preserved, tried to bring in witnesses that weren't relevant. And the icing on the cake, I think, was when I requested a 2-day extension to attend my mother-in-law's funeral with my husband in another state, and NASA refused to give me any extra time. So immediately after my husband buried his mother, I had to go work on interrogatories. My investigator actually apologized on NASA's behalf. All that stuff made an impression at EEOC, and not a good one. So over time, I saw that when I raised red flags, EEOC listened and documented them, just like they did with NASA. The conclusions in my report of investigation were slightly biased in NASA's favor, but the evidence that EEOC laid out in that report helped my case a lot. Another thing in our favor is that I believe most of the people who work at EEOC believe in what they do. I think a lot of them realize from personal experience just how damaging discrimination can be. Call out your employer's games with evidence whenever you see them, and chances are EEOC will see them too. EEOC wasn't able to get me the one thing I really wanted, reasonably accommodated. In the end, they did give me some vindication and some money, which is better than the nothing I expected. So as easy as it is to be cynical about the process, and it is, in the end I found that I was able to trust the people at EEOC to get to the truth. But I'd like to know what you guys think. What's been your experience with EEOC? Do you feel like they've treated you fairly? We employees have to do a lot to get EEOC's help. Winning isn't guaranteed, but it is possible. Fight smart,